when the title collapses on scroll. So that's quite nice. Hope you're doing well. Today we're looking at this little border here. Oops, we are looking at this little header. So this is an iOS only header, and it looks exactly like something you would have on a native app, like settings, for example. There we go. This app is React Native, but you can see that it's the same native header. So I'll show you how to do that. It also works in dark theme. You'll notice that the header, once it's collapsed, has a border or a shadow in React Native, and the header is transparent. It's not very obvious here, but it is. Let's see it this way, if you can see a bit of red behind the header there. And also there's a cool animation. Settings here turns into the back button when you navigate away. Very cool. Okay, let's see how we can build this out. So first we're going to start with a expo template. So we're going to go here. Where's our terminal? There we go. And start a new expo project. And then back here, let's open my button. That's my new template. So your screen should look something like this. Now we are going to create a new screen in our stack.screen. Right now you would be on your layout file, not the one in tabs. We want the one in the app folder. And then we're going to call this header. There we go. Now we're going to create a new file called header.tsx, which will have the content of that screen. Let's just do export default. Make sure you have the default, otherwise it won't recognize it as a route. Screen, return theme text header, that's fine. Import themed text. Also, we need to navigate to that route, so we need a link at the top of this page. Link header, and then link to header screen. Yeah, that's fine. Import link from expo-router if you haven't, and save. Now we have a link to our new page. There we go. So that page only has a text of header at the top. So first thing we do if we want to add a header is to go to our stack screen options and then change this to true. And now we have a beautiful header. So that's the default header on iOS, and it would look something similar to a Material UI's header on Android. So we can go back, and then here we have a back button and a header title. Next, change the header title to something other than the file name. So let's do header large title, because that is what we are trying to achieve here. And then now it has changed. And the most important prop for your large header title is header large title. And you have to set that to true. And there you have it, a beautiful header. Now the issue is, first, the text of your screen is gone and your header doesn't collapse. For this to work, you need your screen content to be wrapped in a scroll view. So we're gonna add scroll view from either React Native gesture handler or React Native. We're gonna use React Native. If you want to use React Native from gesture handler, you have to go in your layout and import gesture handler root view. Otherwise, it will give you an error and tell you to add this. So to save some time, there we go. Now we can go back to our header and then import it from React Native gesture handler, and we don't get that error. There we go. So now this is scrollable and our text collapses. We are still missing our little text that says header here, and that's because it's hidden behind the large title. We can make that more obvious if we open our layout and set the header to transparent to true. There we go. So now our header is transparent and we can see that the text is hidden behind the header. To fix that, there is this prop called content inset adjustment behavior, which will basically calculate the height of your header in your scroll view and add some padding accordingly. So we can do that. We do not need this style. And we want to set that prop to automatic. So there we go. It automatically adjusts the inset. You can change this to never, and then it will put your text back up there. So let's just save it on always. or automatic actually is the best one. And there we go, we have our nice header. Now it's a bit too transparent, so on iOS you can add a blur. Header, blur, effect, and just set it to regular, that's the default, and there we go. You can see the text move behind the back button. That is quite nice. We want maybe the border at the bottom of the header to appear when the text is collapsed. So to do that, you can do header, shadow, visible, true. Problem with this one is that it adds it also to the large title. So we can set it to false on the header large title. Header large, shadow, visible to false. Header large title. Oops, my bad. And then now we have what we wanted, and it also works on black. You can change the background of the header with large style, for example, set it to red, and then it will have this particular color. So usually you'd want to match the background of your screen, and then when you scroll it collapses and then switches to transparent. For example, if I added a background of red to our scroll view, then it would do this and be quite nice. So it would basically, the header blends in with your screen until you scroll up. And there you have it. And that is how you create a large header with the animation on iOS. On Android, it just looks like a normal header. So these props don't do anything. Also, if you want that cool animation to appear, you just have to create a new screen, go to that screen from this one, and then header large title will be the name of the back button. So let's just do that real quick. Stack screen, header 2. Let's just call it header 2 for now. Copy the content of this screen. Create a new screen called header2.tsx. Close our thing, and then header 2. There we go. Paste. Go to header, and then change this to 2. Probably change this to 2 as well. And now we have a header 2. On our main header screen, we're going to create a link. Quickly, we don't have much time. href, header 2, perfect, thank you. And then now we are going to our main screen, and if you go to a header 2, then you get that, oh, I think it's because it's too big. Let's just go back here, open our layout, and change the name of this to header large. Go back, reload, link to header screen, new screen. No! Is it because you need a large header? Or do I have to set a title? Options, header title, header 2. Ah, okay. So once you have a title on your second screen, then the animation appears. That's good to know. I didn't know that. Let's just confirm that it works with a long title. Refresh. Header screen. Oh, okay. So it was actually the length of the title. If it's too big, then it doesn't work, which makes sense. Yep. All right, good to know. Well, there you have it. A large title that you can use on iOS, on stack navigators. It doesn't work on tabs. If you try to do the same thing within your tab screens, it won't work. I hope this was quite helpful. You can now make your iOS apps look a bit more, feel a bit more native. And unfortunately, it doesn't do anything for web or Android. So you're gonna have to figure that one out. That's all I have for you today. Have a good one.